So I'm driving home from work today, and on the news, guess what I hear? Well, sorry I haven't made a video in a while, but this one is kind of important. So on the news, I'm hearing about this white supremacist group, one member of whom went and vandalized a synagogue with a bunch of swastikas and perhaps some other stuff. I pulled up the article, and this group is called The Base. The Base. Oh, they're so based, aren't they? Based. You know, anytime you see a group with a name like that, a mid-wit name like that, steer clear of them, because they're just going to get you in trouble. Now, this guy who went and vandalized a synagogue is one of our people. He's one of Western kind who was led astray by whoever the leadership of this group is. Now, we all have seen other groups like this, like the Patriot Front. And we've seen them marching around in their goofy little outfits with their masks and the sunglasses and the hats. And funny thing you notice is that they all have great physique. They all march in lockstep. They all wear the same color and patterns of clothing. They all carry the same flags, the same banners. They all chant the same stupid slogans. And they end up sending people to prison for doing stupid shit like this asshole did, this anti-white asshole, vandalizing a synagogue. Now the point is that people like myself and Jason Kona of at NoWhiteGuilt.org and here on YouTube and on Twitter, NoWhiteGuilt NWG on Twitter, I'm pointing you to him because he did a live stream this last Sunday or Tuesday, I can't remember which day, in which he showed an interview with a young lady who is a doctor, a legitimate doctor, who studied the correlation between animus against other races and a white identity, having a high white identity. And she found that when people like the ones in this group go and vandalize a synagogue or do other similar things, that white identity across the board drops. You know why? It's because none of our people in their right minds want to be associated with that shit. Nobody wants to be associated with hating on another group. She also found, curiously enough, that those with our people, white people, Western kind, those of us with a high animus towards other races have low identity with our people. Those of us with high group identity, a high measure of identifying as being a member of Western kind, are much less likely to have racial animus towards other groups, towards non-white groups. So, people who fall into these stupid traps of hating on the Jews, or hating on this group, or hating on that group, you know what you're doing? You are preventing the well-being of our people. You're preventing it deliberately, and you're doing it because you're anti-white. I know you'll refer to yourself as pro-white, and in other videos I believe I've addressed why I don't use that. I use white positive, white well-being, and there's a good reason for that. It's because it doesn't chase people off. Not like these idiots from the base. So the next time you hear somebody clamoring on about white supremacy and etc., unfortunately, they have examples to point to. Stop giving them examples to point to, because you piss off people like me who love our people and want to defend, support, and love them and defend them against this type of crap. See, those people's objectives are not to have white people be well, to have well-being for our people. No. Their objective is to hate on other races. And that gives the anti-white regime, which we all live in every Western country, the ammo to step up and say, hey, you folks that are interested in white well-being, shame on you. It's immoral for you to stand up for white well-being because it involves hating on other races, which it does not. It does not at all. loving your people, defending them, and providing for their well-being is the highest moral good that you can achieve. It's the highest moral good that you can achieve. Not loving God, not loving your wife, not loving your family, not loving everybody in the world or all of humanity. No, it's loving your people. That is the highest moral good. And in my mind, God comes right under that. Then your wife, your family, friends, the extension of your people. So just keep in mind, if you're tempted to join one of these idiot groups, that what you're actually doing is you're standing in the way of the well-being of our people. And you're standing in the way of us preventing our victimization. Now you may say, Seamus, we're white. We create everything. We're not being victimized. Want to bet? I can point you to tangible examples. Academic, lily-livered, limp-wristed, pasty peacocks on their moral high horse, calling for our genocide. Nobody takes them seriously, of course. Some people do, but not everybody. But our people, when they hear that coming from these types, we kind of roll our eyes and go, oh God, okay, whatever. Other people take action on it in the streets. You will hear different groups, and I'm not pointing at any specific individuals, but individuals within these different groups have and do call for our genocide. Black Hebrew Israelites, members of that group, have called for killing all white people. If you go on Twitter, or if you go on, well, just Twitter, you can find hundreds, no, thousands of examples of whites being viciously, violently attacked by non-whites. You don't find as much going in the other direction. There is some there, but this is my point. If you want, I can sit you down and point you to legitimate examples of our people being victimized on the individual level and on the group level. And it's only getting worse. And so when people like this, the base, when members of groups like that start going around and demonstrating what the anti-whites have been pushing down our throats, that we are evil and immoral because we're born white, and that's our instinct that we project out onto the world. When people go and do shit like vandalize a synagogue, that is an example that anti-whites will point to. And then they'll come to us and say, if you're trying to fight for the betterment of your people as a group, because as Jason says, and I firmly believe this, our individual well-being is achieved by way of our group's well-being. So when they see that we, in the no white guilt community, or sphere, if you will, because we're not in one location, we're all over the place, right? And we're minuscule compared to all of these other white negative groups, like Patriot Front, like The Base. Anti-whites will come to us and they will say, you see what your people do? That's what fighting for white well-being looks like, is what they will tell you. And no amount of convincing or arguing otherwise is going to convince anyone that it's not the case. So, if you're a person that's white negative and you decide to join up in one of these groups, let me give you some incentive to avoid them. Prison. It's a trap. It's a tarp, folks. It's a tarp. Don't fall through the tarp.